Writer's block. I hate it. And it happens to everyone. I think the thing is, how do you get through it? How do you push through when you can't think or you're stuck? And of course, then all you want to do is try to solve it. And so therefore, all you're doing is putting up more blocks, I should say. So I guess the question that most writers and just creative people, when you get stuck, how do you get out of it? How do you get through writer's block? And I don't think there's one right way. Each person is different. I currently, myself, am revising. I'm on my second draft. And so I'm noticing I need to make changes, structuring differently, playing around, and then I get to a spot and I'm stuck at the same part, and I think I've been beating myself up over it. And I always have to remind myself the reason that writer's block happens is because we have kind of two sides of our brain. We've got the creative side that wants to try things and move forward and just be creative. And then you've got your logical side that's kind of trying to correct or proofread or improve, so to say, at the same time. And those two sides tend to battle. And, you could have something that maybe relaxes you. A lot of times when I'm writing at night, will like to pour myself a glass of bourbon. Kind of helps me a little bit. But I can't do that during the day, especially if I'm at work or before going to work. And that's a lot of times when I'll do a lot of revising or proofreading and editing and using kind of that logic side. But the best way to get through writer's block, and the reason that it happens for many of us, is because that one side is not allowing the other side to be creative, to take chances. And the thing that you can tell yourself, and I told myself this with the first draft, and I said it many months ago when, it's not about being perfect, it's about kind of progressing, about moving forward and trying things. So as you're writing, it's remembering it's going to be garbage. I told Anthony as I sent my first draft, and I knew it, I was pretty happy about Act 1. Act 2 was, had some good spots of it. And Act 3 I was kind of like, I'm going to try stuff. I even had parts where I was introducing a character just in a scene, just to try it, and then did not come back to it because I was kind of like, Anthony, did that do anything for you? Did you like it as a reader? What do you think? And so I was just trying things. I kind of really shut down one side and just let myself be creative. And now that I'm going back and revising, then I have to kind of use both sides of my brain. I get stuck more often. So I may be, just having a notepad on the side. I many times have final draft up, and on my other side, I have just a Word document that as I'm writing, if something happens that I know I need to kind of set up earlier, I'll just make a note of it. So this is kind of my revising phase where I just kind of go, hey, make sure to introduce this or talk about this, or maybe I should do this. And I kind of try not to let myself continuously go back and jump, and make that change. Then I'm going to do it in draft 3. And that's kind of one way to get through writer's block, is allow yourself just to write, or even taking a step out. I think going out for a walk, getting fresh air, doing other things that are not dealing with the writing is another way for people to kind of just say, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go work on other things I have to get done, shower. It's anything that can allow yourself to relax, that actually while you're doing that, your mind's going to still work through and kind of push through and hopefully figure out how to get through that writer's block or what part of the story that you need to fix. But it's, again, not allowing yourself to sit in that writer's block. So, there's many ways, like just taking a piece of paper and just letting yourself, throw up on it, not literally, but, mind dump, as people like to say. For 3 minutes, just start writing stuff, and knowing that you're there to kind of make mistakes or push through that might be garbage. That's okay, because that's what you have to do. And I think if you start to kind of get through that part where this may be garbage, but I'm going to try something, and not letting that logical side to kind of go, I got to correct this, is just say, let me get it down. You kind of start to build that trust between the two. And it's okay to try. It's okay to take risks and try, but you got to get through it. And that's just kind of knowing that, how you operate. And something I like to think about and this is, you'll hear every famous writer or any great writer or and current writers that say, your first draft is shit. I tell my screenwriting students that. Your first draft is shit. And I'm gonna tell, or I can tell, if you've only written one draft and you're turning that into me and I'm seeing it, I can tell. Means you did not really kind of put yourself through that trial of revising, because that's where real writing happens. So think of it as 4 drafts. Your first draft is really to kind of get that story out, maybe. Second draft is really to kind of start structuring it. Third draft, you're really starting to revise and improve. And then your fourth draft is fine-tuning. And maybe even more, depending on, like, you know, the notes you're getting back from people, if things aren't working and the story has to change. But I know it's sad to say, but I almost feel like you gotta have at least 4 drafts. Maybe 3. You might be able to get away with 3 depending on, you know, your time period, but 4 drafts. And I know there's no one out there, well, I shouldn't say there's no one. I've heard stories of someone just writing it in 1 draft and it being perfect, and you kind of go, how did you do it? Even though I've done, and Anthony and I don't know how Anthony's kind of pre-production or his kind of structuring phase, but I map it out. I beat it out with Blake Schneider's beat sheet. I even use kind of the story clock. I mean, I'm thinking about all the parts, you know, filling in the gaps and trying to do all that before I sit down writing. But once you start writing, you got to get through it. You just got to do it. So today's talking about writer's block, doing that. And that's been kind of a long message in itself. But don't give up on that part. Second thing I want to talk about, other than writer's block, because, you know, I've got second draft that will be here finishing up here shortly, is our Kickstarter. So we are going to be releasing our Kickstarter for our production next Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. I know Anthony and I are going to probably start to bombard you all and everyone to kind of help. It's one of those things that we won't be able to do this without everyone's help. And we don't want to be annoying, I think, but we also are excited to share this, and we're going to have kind of a bunch of updates, a lot of fun things going into it, different perks. So if you do get involved and want to actually donate or contribute to our Kickstarter, we're going to have a lot of different levels of perks and ways to get involved, but even sharing, just, you know, sharing the message, getting it out to other people that may be interested in the story. The story is starting to kind of take some really interesting twists that I think will be exciting, not just for viewers, but just for people to think about. And that's kind of what we're excited. So be on the lookout next Thursday, and please, you know, help us contribute in any way, share. And also, if you can, this goes back to the writing. I know my stories or my things are so much longer than Anthony's, but if you are writing and you get into writer's block and have a question or have a thought or just want us to kind of give some advice, we'd love to. We'd love to see kind of what other people are working on and what's going on out in the community. So get through it, have a good Tuesday, and stay on the lookout for our Kickstarter. Thanks.